The 7 Laws of the Universe. The following 7 principles are laws in which the universe operates. To grasp a better understanding of the origin of these laws, it's highly recommended to first watch or read the article Hermes Trismegistus, Master Magician. The practicing magician with knowledge of these laws is able to work within them to create their ideal reality. The laws of the universe are inescapable, so the 7 principles in the Kybalion act as a guide to start to know how reality really works, allowing for a different understanding of oneself and the environment. These are the 7 principles. Number 1. The principle of mentalism. This principle establishes the idea of the all, which is the material reality that underlies all aspects and creations of life, matter, energy, and anything of the physical reality in which we live. The perception of man sees all of reality as constantly becoming, where nothing is permanent but change. The force that brings reality into being is the all. It is infinite, unchanging, unalterable, and ungraspable by human perception. It's only natural for the human to reason the true nature of the all, but only the wise realize that the all is unknowable. Socrates even reasoned that a philosopher should look forward to death because the limitations of human conception are the only thing holding the philosopher back from comprehending the all. The all can't only be compromised of all the observable matter, however, because the concepts of life and mind wouldn't exist. The all also can't be compromised of life either, because the creation of life comes from a merging of 2 parts, male and female, yet the all can't be split in 2. The only thing that the all can truly be compromised of is mind, because mind is the only other form of creation in the universe where something can truly come out of nothing. Therefore, the all is compromised of the mind. The all brings about creation in the same way the mind brings about thoughts. Once things are created through the mind of the all, it becomes subject to other laws of the material plane. This principle shows the true power of the human mind, and I'll explore later how material mental creations can heavily influence reality. Number 2. The principle of correspondence. This principle reveals how there's a correspondence between the laws that rule over the various planes of existence. This idea has surfaced through those who preach that the macrocosm, the entire world in the universe, reflects the microcosm, individual. More in-depth Hermetic teachings divide the planes down to the mental, spiritual, and physical aspects of being. Then they divide those states of being even further into subcategories. Each plane is subject to a set of laws, and this principle identifies how the laws of various planes correspond to one another. Number 3. The principle of vibration. The principle of vibration states that nothing rests and that everything is in constant vibration, a fact backed by modern science that showed all matter is made up of atoms at different rates of vibration. All planes of the physical, mental, and spiritual are comprised of varying rates of vibration. Humans even talk and hear through the power of sound, a manipulation of vibration at its essence. Through the manipulation of vibration, sound-based or not, the magician is able to control their own mental vibrations and heavily influence the vibration of others. Number 4. The principle of polarity. This principle reveals that opposites are identical in nature, but different in degree, in the same way that hot and cold are just 2 extremes on the polarity of temperature. The Kybalion challenges the reader to look at a thermometer and decipher where cold stops and heat begins. The impossibility of the task shows that there's no such thing as absolute heat or absolute cold. The principle of polarity takes effect on the material plane just as much as it does on the mental plane, reflecting the principles of correspondence. When the magician fully grasps the principle of polarity, they can mentally manifest themselves onto the opposite extreme of the specific polarity that they're in conflict with, and thus create a balance in sound mind. To balance out the feeling of fear, the opposite extreme of bravery needs to be manifested to balance the polarity. Hate can only be balanced with extreme love. Sadness can be balanced with extreme happiness. Dissatisfaction can be balanced with extreme satisfaction, and so on. Number 5. The principle of rhythm establishes that everything is in a state of flowing out and in, or back and forth, much like the swing of a pendulum. This law is in effect from the destruction and creation of worlds to the rise and fall of all nations, and even within the constantly changing degrees of polarity on the mental plane. All forces on all planes are in a constant state of rhythm, always flowing from one end of a polarity to the other. Humanity is in a constant battle with the swing of the universal pendulum, always swaying between the extremes of love and hate, sadness and happiness, and all others. When the magician balances a polarity by positioning themselves at the opposite extreme of that same polarity, they are able to avoid the rhythmic swing of the unfavorable extreme of that polarity. By placing oneself on the extreme polarity of happiness when in the midst of extreme sadness, the practitioner is able to operate within a reasonable place on the polarity until the pendulum naturally swings back in the other direction. Number 6. The principle of cause and effect. Going along with the principle of rhythm is the principle of cause and effect, which states that every cause has an effect on all planes, physical, mental, and spiritual. All things attributed to chance are just causes not yet discovered. In the same way, primitive cultures made gods out of things they couldn't explain. The human brain tries to rationalize unexplainable effects. Advanced magicians have developed techniques used to be able to mentally rise themselves to higher planes and thus escape the laws of cause and effect in this place, becoming movers instead of pawns. Though they appear to defy the laws of the universe, the advanced magician simply rises above them, comparable to looking down at the flow of traffic go by from an overpass. The principle of gender. Number 7. The principle of gender. Though the principle of gender is manifested in the physical sense through sex, the principle of correspondence is in effect, so the principle of gender isn't limited to this one material manifestation. The principle of gender is manifested on all planes like every other principle and is comprised of masculine and feminine energies that align to bring about generation, regeneration, and creation. The principle of gender is not a teaching of lust, rather it reflects the forces of creation. The all creates the universe through a mere thought that manifests in the material plane through the principle of gender. Since the all is in all, it can operate on any plane of existence through thought, just like how humans create fictional worlds through imagination. Though the all is outside of all the laws of the physical plane, it's thought that the manifests itself instantly adheres to the principles of the material universe. The principles of gender comes into effect and turns that thought of the all into all of the living universe when the masculine and feminine energies align. To understand and live within the laws that the material plane operates on, the individual can learn to create their best reality and discover more about themselves and the universe. The entire book of the Kybalion is available for free as a PDF online. Nobody owns the right to this sacred knowledge.